Hello, Anjani Segrist here with the new moon astrology report for in Kauai, where I am. The new moon is going to be exact on the 10th of August at 11:57 p.m. In San Diego or Pacific Standard Time, the new moon is going to be exact 11 August at 2:57 a.m. So these exact timings are really potent timings for opening up to that moment. The moment you were born, you get to be a walking embodiment, like a snapshot of that moment and the relationship between all the planets in relation to the earth and the sun. And during these timings, those moments hold a potent energy that we can tap into, and you don't have to be awake for it. The time is really late at night, really early in the morning, but just putting a note in your consciousness that this moment, it's important to you. This moment is really important. So let's get into looking at the chart. And you don't have to do anything, it's just having a note in your mind. But for the day before, the day of, and the day after, those are the times that I really sort of give my life a pause and focus on opening to receive information. And we inform the mysteries as much as the mysteries inform us. So keeping that in mind, everything that you do, every action you take, it's part of a bigger picture, a cosmic picture. And we often forget about the two-way communication in the relationship that we have with the earth and with the sky. So keeping that in mind. So the sun and moon are at 18 degrees Leo. We've been working the Leo mysteries this month, and Leo mysteries have to do with being proud of yourself, being bright, shiny, radiant on center stage of your life, being proud of who you are, being proud of your accomplishments and your failures even, because failures show that you tried, that you're making an effort, that you're engaging with life. So being proud of that also. The sun and moon together in Leo have also Mercury retrograde just 4 degrees away. So Mercury is at 14 degrees of Leo, really close, telling me that part of this opening into us seeding a new way that we shine, a new way that we love ourselves, that we love each other, that we love the earth, that we love, period. New ways that we love. So we're exercising our heart, the magnetism of our heart, expanding bigger and being, I've been practicing a lot of belly dance this month because the posture of, your spine being erect, chest up and out. And it's like the posture of royalty. Like you really, when you stand up straight and engage your, I was going to say your mula bandha, but it's not just the bandha in your pelvic floor. It's, just engaging all of those centers along your spine. You cannot help but feeling more proud of who you are. Your breath changes because there's now more space in the rib cage and the diaphragm. So practicing that posture really helps with what we're opening to, receiving this new energy of love, expression of the heart center. And just when I say that, I want to also remind us all that the heart center is not an island. It goes along through the whole body. It's just that it's here in the chest, and we think of that as our place of connecting. So Mercury is right there, bringing in that energy of expression, communication, the way we understand and have cognition. So if you have, holding a grudge against yourself, belittling yourself or others, or having any kind of a resentment about maybe a failure that you had, something that you tried and you don't feel like you accomplished what you wanted to. That energy of Mercury is there sort of reminding us that we don't always know the bigger picture. So if we can't understand, like we're thinking, oh, I failed, or I'm resenting this person, or whatever the little knots that we tie within our own consciousness, it's okay. Let them be there. There's nothing you need to do. You don't have to say, oh, unlock it, untie it, release it. It's not that. Noticing where those are, breathing into those places, and it's like sending love. To me, what I mean by that is that acknowledging that we're humans, and don't try to force a change, or because in that forcing a change, there's some sort of a feeling that we're doing something wrong. We need to change it. It's not good. Noticing the locks, noticing the knots, and sending our loves just by bringing the awareness to that place. Mercury is in retrograde close to this new moon. This to me also is saying, like, don't try to make something else happen. When Mercury is in retrograde, it's a really great time for reflection, sitting by a bowl of water, a lake, an ocean, and just watching the reflection. Don't go in and try to do something to it. It's not the time for that. It's the time for bearing witness, to noticing what that reflection is and seeing it. And I've been out here in Kauai camping, and it's been very quiet. I have no grid over me. I'm just with my thoughts, and I've been noticing a lot more what they're saying. And in those noticing, I hear it, I sense that my body goes into an anxious mode, and then I just breathe. And I'm not saying like, oh, that's bad, make it change, stop, release, unlock it. I'm not saying that. I'm noticing it. And in the noticing, I feel a peace coming over me. And Mercury retrograde is a perfect time to recognize where you are, acknowledge where you are, and that's it. There's nothing else you need to do. Just love. Love yourself, love where you are. This Leo is also associated with the child. What do children do? Be like that. Be like what a child does. If you think you've done something wrong, a child might be like, okay, and then just keeps going. The other thing about children in association with Leo and the placement of Mercury with this new moon, when something happens, they just keep going with it. I've been camping with my 5.5-year-old, and it's been so helpful for me, because as we're engaging in doing something, I'll start asking, like, should we do this? Should we do that? He's like, I don't know, whatever, just whatever. And then I make some choice, and then we just start doing it. And then we move into the next thing. We flow into the next thing. And it doesn't need to be so drawn out, planned. It gets so complicated. You know, we are masters at complicating our life. From the moment we are conceived, all we do is become more and more complicated. So this new moon is a great time to reseed ourselves back to that moment of purity. Purification is another word that's coming in for this new moon, because you can see in my little drawing down here, we have the sun and moon 18 degrees. Mercury is here at 14, at a perfect square to Jupiter, who is at 14 degrees of something. I think it was Libra. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, it's an exact square. So I want to check. Hold on. Jupiter is in Scorpio. So Jupiter is 14 degrees Scorpio, and it's a perfect square to Mercury. While Mercury is in retrograde and we have Jupiter square to that, this is the purification piece is here, because Jupiter has to do with evolution, expansion. Every time we're expanding, it's like particles that are tight and condensed, which is what we are in our physical bodies, particles of light tightly condensed. They expand, and there's more spaces in between those particles. This is the purification. We can assist our own purification by noticing what we're eating, what are we putting into our body of light, noticing what we're saying with Mercury here, this is really, really about our senses. It's not just our thought process. People often think about Mercury as just the mind, but it's not. It's all of the senses, what we're seeing, what we're smelling, what we're tasting, and also that, because as we take in information through our senses, we are also putting information back out through our senses. Whatever land you are on, where you live, the actual land, start to notice your connection to the things, the grass, the rocks, the trees, the mountains, whatever, the ocean. If you're near the ocean, this is such a great place to go to for connection, because all of your senses can get involved with that communication with the land you're in. Jupiter loves this. Jupiter is square to Mercury right now. This is going to expand your consciousness. This is going to bring greater evolution, which is what we're being asked to do, especially in relationship to Mercury right now. So the way that I see these planets are not as a separate thing from us. I see them as different parts of our physical body, as different parts of our psyche, our mind, our spiritual being. It's all connected. So okay, so Jupiter is square to Mercury, and then the other thing I wanted to mention was something that I've been talking about, which is Mars on the South Node. Right now, Mars is at 0 degrees Aquarius and the South Node is at 5 degrees Aquarius. They're still really, really tight. Still focusing on how are we using our masculine energy. Something that occurred to me recently, like one of those sudden bursts of insight, was that there's not one way to be masculine. There is also, it's always changing. What is masculinity? What if it's not different than femininity? What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? What if there is no way? You know what I mean? Because we have it in our mind, like men are supposed to be the protectors, women are supposed to be the nurturers. Well, what if that weren't necessarily true? And who said that anyway? Like, who said men were supposed to be the protectors and women were supposed to be the nurturers? I don't really think that's necessarily true, and it's especially not anymore. Nowadays, women are being the protector and the nurturer. Men are being the protector and the nurturer. They're also filling whatever role they need to fill. It doesn't make a man any less masculine that he's at home taking care of kids while his wife is doing career things. It doesn't emasculate a man at all to be changing diapers. We know this now. This is, I think, common understanding of where we are as a culture altogether. With Mars on the South Node, it's bringing up, oh yes, this is when we have mastered something. So this is not just in relationship to what does it mean to be a man or masculinity. It also has to do with the way we've been asserting ourselves, projecting our will out into the world. Once we've reached a mastery level, we get some sort of initiation. So this is something that's coming up right now for the Leo new moon. You may be noticing, especially because Mars is on the South Node, that things that you thought that you have ascended or you've gotten over it, old habits, patterns, addictions, especially if you have any major planets in the sign of Aquarius that may be directly being affected by Mars on the South Node. It might be, I have my Venus is been right underneath this. I mean, it's not like it's underneath it, but the placement of the South Node and Mars are directly the same spot of my natal Venus. So this has been coming up for me a lot. Things that I thought I've gotten over, habits, patterns, addictions that I felt very finished with, all coming up. And it to me feels like the initiation. Every time you master something, you get initiation. In any although we don't have necessarily mystery schools anymore, we don't have so much in our culture initiations. We don't get that so much unless you are involved in a mystery school, but they're built into life. They're built in astrologically with timings of nature and the seasons So anytime you master something, you get to be tested on it. And that's what's happening right now with Mars on the South Node. Whatever we think that we have overcome comes back. So if you had a habit, maybe an addiction to alcohol, suddenly, I mean, this literally happened to me. I was in the grocery store and I quit drinking alcohol. So like about 15, my daughter's 15. I quit drinking when I got pregnant with her. After I found out I was pregnant, I was still really into it. After I had her, I think it was about 2 years I was nursing her and I didn't drink. And then I had a little run-in with it for about a year where I was really challenged with alcohol. And it went, you know, I got pregnant again, so I stopped drinking. And then it wasn't an issue anymore. I moved to India. I was living in an ashram, meditating all the time, practicing yoga. Let go of the addiction. It didn't bother me anymore. And it hasn't bothered me for years. And the other day I was in the grocery store and I saw this. I don't know how I ended up going through the alcohol aisle. I never go through it. But this particular time I was like, you know, I would like to have a little drink of something. So I walked through the alcohol aisle and I saw a bottle of rum, which used to be my thing. I used to drink the Puerto Rican rum. And I saw the bottle and I was like, no, don't want it, not interested. I kept walking and then I saw this little really cute, I'm looking around because I thought I had it in here, this really cute little bottle of organic vodka. And I never was into vodka, but the bottle, the marketing was so good. Here it is. Isn't this just adorable? It's organic vodka in this little bubble looking, it's called Ocean, and it's brewed or made right here in Kauai. Amazing. So anyway, I saw it and I was like, I'm not gonna get that. I don't even drink anymore. And something came over me. I was like, oh, just get it, just get it. I haven't opened it. I may or may not, I don't know, but it's just one of those things that a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Once you think you finished something, you get the initiation, the test, you know, and maybe what if I drink some? It's not like I'm even if I finish this whole thing, I could just splash a drink in something. Maybe that is the test. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean I'm going to go get completely liquored up and start a binge. Maybe that's the test. Like, can you have a drink without drinking a ton, you know? So that's Mars on the South Node. This is also perfectly square to Uranus, who is currently in the sign of Taurus. Uranus squared to Mars on the South Node, sudden changes, unpredictable changes. Unpredictable, sudden changes, shifting your assemblage point. You know, we all have a set assemblage point of what is normal for us. This is what is your normal. What is your, you know, the way that you see the world every day. You wake up and you sort of have this set perception. Well, this is right now square to Mars on the South Node. So suddenly changing the way that you assert yourself in the world, the way that you feel your masculine energy. I'll go ahead and stop here. This is your new moon astrology reading from the back seat of my car in Kauai. I'm going to take the phone now and give you a little view of where I'm at. So thank you so much for watching the video. I look forward to connecting with you soon.